So you are running against Democrat Senator Jon Ossoff. Why do you think he needs to be unseated?
Well, I think it's obvious. You can take a look not only at the fact that he's never done anything in his entire first term, but when you look at where his contributions come from, the people that really support him, it's those crazy folks out of California and those nut jobs up in New York. That's where 80% of his money comes from. I mean, and Georgia deserves to have somebody that actually reflects their values, not a third senator for the state of California.
Now, how did Georgia end up with two radical leftist senators? I mean, what is the state of conservatism in Georgia? Should we be concerned as a movement?
Well, I think we should always be concerned, but you take Senator Ossoff, Jon Ossoff, he got elected in a fluke election back in 2020. There's no doubt about it. As a matter of fact, they're continuing to take a look at that election. But since then, we have changed our election laws. We've gotten rid of those drop boxes. Everybody and their pets are not getting absentee ballots. So a lot of things have changed. But the real thing about a midterm election is turnout. So no matter what, we've still got to make sure that we energize the base, and we make sure that our people know exactly who we are and what we're fighting for.
What do you think will energize the base going into the 2026 midterms? It seems like there's a lot of infighting going on right now, especially in the wake of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. How do we come together? What are we fighting for to defeat the left?
You know what you're fighting for? You're fighting for the future of this country, the next generation. It's one of the reasons that I'm here. You're fighting for affordability. You're fighting for just getting back to American core values. And in a midterm election, these people want to see that you actually support President Trump, that you actually are MAGA and you are out there in the fight. And as far as the Republican primary, they know that about me. I mean, I was all over this country with President Trump. I spoke on stage at rally after rally in Georgia. So they understand that, but the people in the north side of Atlanta, the Atlanta suburban crowd, they just want somebody to get something done. If they want bipartisan legislation, they want to see policy. And that's where I come in, because I've had two pieces of legislation passed and signed into law in 2 years.
You were responsible for the Laken Riley Act, correct?
Yeah.
Now that happened in your district.
It did.
What was her family's reaction to that when you were able to get that passed?
You know, that's a tough call to make. And then when you really get to meet people and you find out that family's just salt of the earth. You know, they love their daughters with all their heart. And it's devastating. And that's something that you know people will never get over. And that's part of me, what drove me, because I knew we couldn't get it passed in the 118th when I couldn't get Jon Ossoff to help me get it out of the Senate. But I told them, I called them on the phone, told them I was going to fight with every ounce of my body, just like Laken did. We weren't going to give it up, because not only we know it was a good piece of legislation, but it needed to be passed. And we did that, and of course that was the first thing that President Trump signed into law when he got back in the White House.
And so you're facing off against Derek Dooley and Representative Buddy Carter.
Right.
How are you different than your opponents heading into the primary, and what are your top issues that you're looking to kind of fix if you get into the Senate?
Yeah, you know, sure, it's easy. The difference in all of us, I've been in the private sector, I've been in the business, small businessman for 30 plus years. I've lived in the state of Georgia my entire life. I've even voted in the last 20 years. But I have not been in the U.S. House for 6 terms. I've only been there for 2. I really believe that you should go and serve and then leave and go home. And what we plan on bringing to the Senate is a backup for President Trump to make sure that we continue to look at this from an America First agenda, an America First perspective, and make sure that the next generation has got every opportunity to chase the American dream. And the way you do that, the nuts and the bolts of it, you get back to regular order. You get back to passing your appropriation bills. You get back to passing a budget. You do that and we get rid of that continuous resolution altogether. Some of the other good things that we're working on up there right now, and we'll continue to work on healthcare. It's huge. The Democrats handed that to us on a silver platter, and now we're fixing it. We just took a good vote, a good start to fixing that problem.
Now you're in Congress right now. Do you think Republican lawmakers have done enough to codify Trump's executive orders and to hold the left accountable for the violence that we're seeing and the violent rhetoric we're seeing right now?
Excellent question. And we have passed, I know we had 15 or so executive orders in the big beautiful bill. They were in there. And we need to continue codifying more. And we've codified a few with the appropriation bills. We need to continue that operation. The problem is, it's not getting it out of the House. The problem is getting it out of the Senate. Because I think as America has become well aware of, unless you have 60 senators that are willing to close debate, you really don't get much done over there. And we've sent so many good pieces of legislation over there to the Senate, to that black hole. I mean, it just disappears over there. And until we get a responsible Senate who is willing to step up, debate, and close debate, and approve things, then we're going to have to continue doing budget reconciliation to get those EOs done. And we have no problem in doing that.
So I did want to ask you, there's a lot of talk about nuking the filibuster amongst the Republican Party. What's your position on that? Like, do you think there are risks, or do you think it's worth it that the left fights dirty, so we have to do the same thing?
Yeah, you know, I think if you look at risk, there's always risk. There's risk if you leave it, because you don't get anything done. You risk not being able to get the 60 senators. In my opinion, and I've already put it out there, yeah, if we nuke it, that's fine. I'm fine with that. But the thing is, we need to be passing legislation that's going to help Americans and make sure that it is America first. You do that, we'll be in power till the cows come home. And I firmly believe that what we've done just so far is going to, this time next year, man, you're going to see this place, it's going to be humming like a sewing machine when we come back here.
There's also been talk amongst Republicans about halting immigration altogether until we get all of the illegal immigrants that came in under Biden out of the country. Do you think that's something that's actually feasible that Republicans could accomplish, especially if they nuke the filibuster, for example?
Listen, we've had so many people, even in the state of Georgia, as recently as the past year, where we had illegal aliens that were brought in to start up a factory. And that factory was built over 3 years. They had plenty of time to train the workforce in the state of Georgia, but they didn't. We need to stop all immigration until we get this thing under control, until we make sure that our young people, their jobs, they're being exported. They're bringing in global labor from other parts of the country to do jobs that these young people need and deserve. And if that means closing down immigration, I got no problem with it.
Now, what do Americans stand to lose overall if Republicans do not maintain majorities in the House and the Senate in 2026?
Well, if you don't even maintain majority in the House, then all you're going to see is impeachment after impeachment after impeachment against President Trump. And that's one of the core reasons, if for nothing else, that ought to motivate people to get out there and vote. They see what's happening. They see that their lives are being changed back to what they had in the first administration. And we do not need to let this thing fall back under Democrat.
And President Trump is focusing a lot on the economy and his successes in that arena. He's also saying, he said in his address the other night, you're going to see the results of my policies, especially next year. Do you think when you're talking to voters on the ground that they're willing to wait to see those results? Are they patient enough?
I think they're already seeing the results. I mean, we're already energy independent, energy dominant. I mean, we're producing more oil right now, and we've got more online to come on board. So that's one of the first areas that you see it in people's pocketbook. At the end of the day, Katherine, people are going to vote from their pocketbook. As food continues to go down, as fuel prices go down, you're going to see that felt. And then we're working on their health insurance now. You're going to see an 11% decrease in just health insurance premiums after we've gotten this bill passed, as soon as we get it out of the Senate and get it over to the White House. So they're seeing some immediate things. Is it fast enough? I'm sure everybody would love to see tomorrow, but I think at the end of the day, by this time next fall, yeah, everything's going to be going a whole lot better and a whole lot different than what it did under the Biden administration.
My last question is, we have some infighting going on. Do you think that is more in an internet bubble, or do you think that is spilling out into Congress, into how lawmakers are going to handle some of these issues coming up?
Yeah, it's the Republican Party is different from the Democrats. We're not like cows. We don't just fall in line and go. We all have our opinions, but it's healthy. It's good to have debates. It's good to see what the Republicans stand for. But at the end of the day, we know we come together. We know how to come together, and we know how to pass good legislation. You've seen that. We've seen that in the big, beautiful bill. I mean, that alone has done tons for this country in just the short amount of time it's been out there.